The entertainment industry has always loved a rise and fall story. But what we are seeing with Rachel Zegler is not just a stumble. It's a career quietly unraveling in real time. And what makes it so compelling, and honestly a little frustrating, is how avoidable it all feels. We're not talking about one bad role or one offhand comment. We're talking about a string of high-profile opportunities handed to her by some of the most powerful players in Hollywood. And each one slowly slipping through her fingers. From Spielberg's West Side Story, to Disney's Snow White, and now to her West End stage debut in Evita.
I would say she leans into her role as both victim and heroine. Listen.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
The pattern is becoming harder to ignore. So now let's talk about what's going down with Rachel Zegler's London stage debut in Evita, which is already shaping up to be her third professional disappointment in a row. Let's start with the numbers, because they paint the picture better than any headline ever could. Rachel Zegler's Evita debut is set to open at the London Palladium, a venue that seats over 2,200 people. But weeks out from opening night, the seating chart is a sea of green. If you've ever bought theater tickets online, you know what that means. Empty.
Rachel Zegler, thanks for coming on my show. I sold out years ago and I'm a coward. So you recently starred in the movie Snow White. Tell me, what was it like to play Snow Latina?
First of all, Steven, it was weird. But I did enjoy reimagining the character as a woke Colombian woman who looks like a fish.
Entire sections of the house, untouched. And we're not talking nosebleeds. We're talking prime orchestra spots, wide open at entry-level prices. Tickets start at $29.50. That's basically the cost of a movie and popcorn in central London. And still, people aren't biting. Because Evita isn't some fringe revival. It's a beloved, iconic musical with built-in name recognition. And Rachel Zegler? She was supposed to be the selling point. The fresh face, the big-name boost. Instead, we're watching her first major theater role launch with the kind of energy usually reserved for mid-season reality show spin-offs.
Rachel, did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, Cry Me a River? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
There's no buzz, no viral clips, no ticket rush, just awkward silence and empty seats. And for someone who was handed this opportunity as a kind of artistic credibility reboot, that silence is saying everything the audience isn't. Instead of taking a hard look at why Evita isn't moving tickets, Rachel's team seems to be pointing fingers, and not inward. According to a few whispers floating around industry circles, the poor sales are being blamed on online backlash and toxic discourse. In other words, it's the internet's fault, not hers. That kind of framing might have worked a few.
It's been under wraps for so long, so it's really exciting to get to share any kind of look with an audience that cares so much. It's been really, really amazing.
It's incredible, like Rachel said. I can't wait for everybody to see the movie. It's classic and beautiful and inventive. It's just magical.
Years ago, back when a handful of trolls could still be written off as noise. But this isn't about hate clicks. It's about apathy. The far more dangerous response. Because the truth is, the audience isn't actively boycotting Evita. They're just not interested. And that's the part her team seems unwilling to accept. It's not that she's too controversial. It's that the controversy doesn't even register anymore. People aren't showing up because they've already checked out. And blaming the audience, especially the very people you want buying tickets, never ends well. It's like yelling at a mirror and hoping it'll clap for you. At this point, it's hard not to see a pattern forming, because Evita isn't happening in a vacuum.
There's been a lot of controversy over the new live-action remake of Snow White. Disney is said to be so skittish about the reaction, they scaled back the usual lavish premieres. But now the first reviews are in, and it sounds like in the end it may be happily ever after.
It's following two major projects that were supposed to catapult Rachel Zegler into stardom, and didn't. First, there was West Side Story. Spielberg, critical acclaim, Oscar buzz. The setup was perfect, and yet the box office barely moved. The film underperformed, and while a lot of that got blamed on timing or marketing, the reality was audiences just didn't turn out. Not in the numbers people expected for a Spielberg musical. Then came Snow White, a massive Disney remake, a global promotional push, and a PR campaign that spiraled out of control.
Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler joined together for a drastically scaled-down premiere of Disney's Snow White. Despite reports, there was tension between them.
Whistle while you work.
Even though Disney spent a whopping $270 million on the film,
Rachel's press tour was a minefield of viral quotes, awkward sound bites, and what many saw as outright disdain for the original film, calling it outdated, criticizing the prince, rewriting the fairy tale while rolling her eyes. It all landed poorly. Now Evita, meant to be the artistic comeback, is struggling before it even starts. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern. And for someone this early in her career, 3 consecutive disappointments don't just stall momentum, they start to define it. Normally, when a big production launches, especially one headlined by a rising star, there's a whole ecosystem of hype.
Crying on that stage.
When am I not crying in public? It's so upsetting.
Why were you crying?
Oh my gosh, I saw the well, we didn't even see, but I saw the logo and I went, that's my name, Snow White's up there, and I cried my eyes out.
Behind-the-scenes selfies, cast members tagging each other, directors dropping hints in interviews. It's part of the game. But with Evita, nothing. The silence is almost eerie. There's no camaraderie online. No, we love our leading lady posts. No supportive quotes from cast or crew. People involved with the production seem distant. And in an industry built on optics, that absence of support speaks volumes. This isn't about jealousy or competition. It's about calculation.
Somebody tweeted and said, Rachel Zegler has such an attitude about Snow White as a character, it's genuinely off-putting.
Publicly aligning yourself with a performer who's bringing baggage and not buzz to a project is risky. And it looks like a lot of people are choosing to keep that risk at arm's length. Because when even your co-stars don't want to amplify your presence, it's not just a PR issue, it's a reputational one. In Hollywood, doors rarely slam shut. They just stop opening. And for Rachel Zegler, the signs are all there. Projects she was once attached to are now mysteriously moving on without her. Offers that would have once been announced with fanfare are now conflicted out with scheduling excuses. And behind the scenes, one word keeps surfacing: uninsurable. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean she literally can't get insurance. It's industry shorthand. A polite way of saying, this person comes with too much drama and too little payoff. Studios are businesses. They're not in the habit of greenlighting lead talent who attract more memes than moviegoers. And Rachel? She's quickly becoming known as a talent who makes headlines for everything except the work. Producers are pulling back. PR teams are treading carefully. Even fashion brands, the ones that once courted her for campaigns, are quietly stepping away. No one's making a statement. They don't have to. In this town, silence is the statement. Here's where it really starts to fall apart. The gap between how Rachel Zegler seems to see herself and how audiences actually see her. From her perspective, she's a bold voice. A progressive talent challenging outdated norms. A Gen Z trailblazer using her platform to speak truth to power. But to the public? That message isn't landing. Instead, what people are picking up is something very different. A tone that often comes off as smug, dismissive, and disconnected from the projects she's actually promoting.
There is a new version of Snow White coming out, and unlike most Disney films, it won't be an animated one. It's actually got actors and actresses in it. Oh, can I say actors and actresses anymore? That would be to deny that there are many other genders, I suppose.
The Snow White press tour wasn't just a bad look. It revealed a deeper problem. Rachel wasn't just critiquing an old film. She was essentially telling fans, "This thing you love is dumb, and I'm here to fix it." That energy didn't feel empowering. It felt condescending. And when that kind of attitude gets repeated, in interviews, in TikToks, in offhand comments, it starts to define the brand. Worse still, it doesn't seem like she realizes it. Instead of acknowledging missteps or showing reflection, Rachel has doubled down, posting cryptic quotes, making tongue-in-cheek jabs, acting as if the backlash is just another example of people not getting it, but they do get it. They just don't like what they're seeing. And when the image you're selling doesn't match the reaction you're getting, something's gotta give. Here's the part that really puts things in perspective. Usually, controversy helps. In the entertainment world, a little drama can actually boost a project. People get curious. They buy tickets just to see what the fuss is about. Bad press still fills seats, if it's loud enough. But not this time. Despite all the noise around Rachel, the headlines, the backlash, the endless TikTok discourse, Evita isn't benefiting from any of it. There's no surge in interest. No bump in sales, just silence. Empty rows and a shrug from the public. That's not backlash. That's something worse. It's indifference. Because once the public stops reacting, stops caring, there's no outrage left to convert into engagement. No scandal to spin into a second chance. Just a performer on a stage, hoping people show up and watching as they don't.
Tape you've ever seen in your life. I have no idea how I got the part still. And it's being used to teach future casting directors at NYU.
It wasn't that long ago that Rachel Zegler was being positioned as the next big thing. Handpicked by Steven Spielberg, lauded by critics, backed by major studios. She wasn't just another rising actress. She was the chosen one. The kind of Hollywood discovery that gets an automatic fast track to leading roles, red carpets, and glossy magazine spreads. But the same machine that lifts you up can just as easily let you go. Now those same studios are hesitating. The confidence that once surrounded her name is evaporating. Projects that were meant to be showcases are being reshuffled. Promotional plans are shifting. Conversations are happening behind closed doors, and she's no longer being described as fresh or fearless. Instead, she's being called a risk. Not because of her talent, but because of everything else. The headlines, the reactions, the audience disconnect. It's not personal. It's math. Studios don't gamble on unpredictable investments. And right now, Zegler isn't reading as bankable. She's reading as baggage. That's the reality of Hollywood. You can be the industry's golden girl one year and quietly edged out the next. No press release required. Evita was never just another gig. It was supposed to be Rachel's reset. Theater has a long tradition of serving as a comeback platform for stars in need of a credibility boost. It's raw, it's respected, and it's rooted in craft. And playing Eva Peron? That's a powerhouse role. One that demands vocal range, emotional depth, and stamina. If she pulled it off, it could have changed everything. A new narrative, built on talent, not controversy. That's what made this opportunity such a smart move on paper. No green screens, no PR landmines, just a chance to prove she had the range, literally and professionally. But the execution? It's falling flat.
About the live-action remake of Snow White, which will be out next week, but without some of the studio's typical marketing magic.
No buzz, no sold-out runs, no groundswell of support from theater circles or die-hard musical fans. Even in a genre that thrives on word of mouth, the chatter is minimal. And that's what makes this flop sting even more. It was supposed to be her pivot, her reinvention. Instead, it's looking more and more like Strike 3. This isn't just about Rachel Zegler. It's about how the industry keeps making the same mistake, trying to manufacture stars before the audience has actually bought in. Hollywood loves a narrative. They love a discovery. They love building someone up before there's a real foundation. And when the reaction doesn't match the investment, they scramble, pivot, rebrand, hope for a theater run to fix what a press tour broke. But here's the part they keep missing. Audiences can tell. They know when a performance is being sold instead of earned. They know when someone's being pushed instead of embraced. And no matter how many magazine covers or red carpets you line up, you can't force people to care. Evita isn't failing because of internet trolls or Twitter memes. It's failing because the audience never signed on to the narrative in the first place. And no matter how loud the PR machine gets, if people don't feel that connection, they just won't show up. The truth is, no one's rooting for another Hollywood crash and burn. But at some point, the industry and the audience both stop waiting for a turnaround. Rachel Zegler was handed every opportunity, and for a while, it looked like she might actually live up to the hype. But now, between the stalled box office, runs, the PR misfires, and a stage debut met with indifference, the cracks are too big to ignore. There's no dramatic cancellation, no big takedown, just a quiet shift happening behind the scenes. Fewer headlines, fewer offers, fewer people picking up the phone. Because in this industry, you don't need to get kicked out. You just stop getting invited back. And if Evita was supposed to be her comeback story, it may have already turned into the closing act. Don't forget to like and subscribe.